Are you looking for the best microphone? In this video we will look at some of 7 best microphone on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. Shure MV6 USB Gaming Microphone. The Shure MV6 USB gaming microphone manages to pull off a very impressive party trick. While we're massive fans of the podcast-friendly version of this mic, the Shure MV7, but here Shure has managed to shrink down some excellent MV7-like vocal capturing ability into something much more desktop-friendly. And you don't need to get it super close to your mouth to capture a great result, making the Shure MV6 the best gaming microphone we've used to date. Let's talk about form factor for a moment. While you'll get the best results with a good microphone up close to your lips on a boom arm or similar, it's not exactly the most practical setup for most gamers. The MV6, however, is designed to sit on your desk at a more reasonable distance, capturing excellent vocals without being too precious about how far you sit from it. It achieves this via the Motive Mix software, which features auto-gain leveling to constantly adjust the volume, making sure you can always be heard. While it's not magic, and we'd still recommend getting reasonably close, it does an admirable job of keeping your voice consistent from a decent distance away, meaning you can focus on what's on screen instead of perfect mic technique. More than that, the built-in noise reduction is great at minimizing ambient room noise, like PC case fans and humming radiators. It's actually a little on the aggressive side, meaning you can occasionally hear it overcompensating, but on the whole it's a set-and-forget system that ensures you won't have to fiddle around to get a clean vocal signal. You also get the pleasingly named digital popper stopper to minimize plosives, if you do decide to get up close and personal for the full podcast-like sound. Of course, you can remove this mic from its stand and arm mount it like other great mics, so there's real flexibility here, too. Speaking of that stand, it's seriously chunky. There's absolutely no danger of this mic wobbling around, and it feels solid enough that you could use it as a boat anchor in a pinch. Shure has obviously learned from its considerable live music experience, and made a microphone and stand combo that feels nigh on indestructible. It does have a fairly considerable footprint, though. While it's much more compact than its MV7 forebearer, it's still pretty sizable, so those looking for a more discreet solution might want to take a look at something truly tiny like the Razer Sirin Mini. While the little Razer is great at what it does for the price, it does get outclassed here in terms of pickup and overall audio tone. In fact, so do most mics compared to the MV6, most of which aren't as svelte and as immediately usable as this one. To do better than this, you'll really need to spend up and get something truly professional right up in your grill. Here though, it's all about convenience. The Shure MV6 is the mic to go for if you want something desktop-based, easy to use, and with an excellent sound, and at $149, it's also very reasonable priced. That makes it the best gaming microphone you can place on your desk, and one that'll likely keep on trucking for many, many years to come. Number 2. Razer Sirin Mini. The Razer Sirin Mini is our top budget microphone for streaming, and at just $50/£50, it might skimp on features but still delivers top-notch sound. If you're just looking to switch from a headset mic to a better-sounding desktop mic, but don't want to have to mess around setting it up, the Sirin Mini is as plug-and-play as it gets. The pill-shaped design here comes in a variety of black, mercury white, and quartz, or as it's more commonly known, pink. It's an adorable-looking little microphone, which to some may seem more like a children's toy than a proper piece of audio equipment. That would be a mistake, however, as the truth is the little Razer sounds remarkably good for the money. In fact, scrap that, it just sounds remarkably good in general. The internal capsule is of a surprising quality given the price, meaning that its capture is warm, detailed, and clear all at the same time. Just what you want from any microphone really, but especially impressive in one this cheap. Nothing's perfect, and the Mini is, unfortunately, no exception. While the audio quality is brilliant for the money, it's still not quite going to compete with the really high-end, close mic-friendly gear like the magnificent Shure MV7. Also, it makes use of a proprietary cable design, which is a particular bugbear here at PC Gamer. If it breaks, you're going to have to buy another one for Razer, rather than getting a cheap replacement or digging one out from your cable drawer. There's also no dedicated mute button, which is one of those things that doesn't sound like a huge deal, but makes you feel a little unsure about the mic once you're using it. Having a switch on the mic itself to ensure that you definitely aren't transmitting audio is a reassuring feature, although this is almost certainly left out as a concession towards keeping the Mini as cheap as they come. The simple fact that the Mini, at just $50/£50, and in the sales we've seen it go as low as $35/£35, sounds as good as its more expensive brethren will attract users who just want a simple mic that looks elegant and sounds excellent. It's the best budget microphone by miles. Number 3. AudioTechnica at 2020 USB Plus. The AudioTechnica at 2020 USB Plus makes our list as the best mid-range microphone, but honestly, it's cheap enough that it could almost make our best budget pick as well if the Razer Sirin Mini above wasn't so darn affordable. Retailing for under $100/£100 and often found for around $70. The at 2020 USB Plus makes very few compromises where it really counts, and that's the great sound. Inside that tough and resilient metal body lurks an excellent capsule that picks up all the crisp notes in your voice while maintaining a warmth that belies its diminutive price tag. It sounds absolutely great, and really that should come as no surprise to those familiar with their audio equipment. AudioTechnica is a brand famous for creating some of the most accurate, well-built and studio-ready sonic equipment. So even on its more mid-range to budget offerings, it's flat-out refused to compromise on the thing that really counts. And that's the audio pickup. It's maybe a little plosive, which means poo sounds can become blown out, but pop filters are cheap, and given it's a condenser mic you could always adjust your distance and up the gain a bit to compensate if you're using decent background noise removal plugins. There are, of course, a couple of flies in our audio ointment, even towards the mid-range of the market. The included desk stands is wobbly and flimsy, so you'll want to avoid banging around on your desk much and making the mic wobble in turn. It's also got a USB Type-A, which if you ask me is perhaps better than legacy micro USB for maintaining connection, but a bit old school still. With this level of audio quality, and the mic itself being of sturdy construction, it even comes with a little carrying bag, so you can chuck it in your backpack for field recordings. The AudioTechnica at 2020 USB Plus ticks all the boxes that really count. It's a magic little mic, with proper audio credentials and the sound quality to match, all wrapped up in a tough shell that makes it reasonably portable too. Oh, I suppose we could criticize the difficult-to-remember name, but at this point that's become as much of an AudioTechnica trademark as great sound. It's a great all-round package, and, despite the wibbly-wobbly stand, the AudioTechnica at 2020 USB Plus is still the best mid-range mic you can currently buy. Number 4. Sennheiser Profile Streaming Set. The Sennheiser Profile streaming set gives you everything you need to start your podcasting or streaming journey with a great-sounding microphone and sturdy boom arm combo for less than $200/AU $300. That makes it our top recommendation for the best USB microphone and boom bundle. The Profile has two versions. The standalone microphone for $129/£129 or the streaming set for $199/£179. We'll take the latter, thanks, as it's a great deal for a full set that means you have everything you realistically need for great studio quality audio. The volume and mix controls are well placed, and the dedicated mute button is one of those features you probably wouldn't care much about on paper, but makes all the difference in practice. Having a physical button to ensure you're muted helps avoid any awkward streaming audio-related accidents. No, Mum, I know dinner's ready. Can't you see I'm recording games for the internet over here? More than that, the Profile is wonderfully warm in its audio quality, with a crispy level of clarity that just makes your voice sound great. Sennheiser know what they're doing when it comes to sound, and the Profile captures your vocals beautifully, ensuring it's just down to your performance rather than too much fiddling with the dials. Speaking of dials, on the software front, you'll be reliant on using free or paid audio tweaking software if you want to engage in sonic trickery, but thankfully the sound is good enough that you shouldn't need a lot, if any, to still sound great. It must be said, however, that setting up a good stream can be a fiddly procedure, and if you'd rather have something that came with an interface and software package that made it easy, it'd be worth taking a serious look at the SteelSeriesAlias Pro below. Other letdowns? Well, it's very much a microphone just for you rather than you and your friends, as it only has the one pattern that captures the audio right in front of it, rather than the whole room. Still, chances are if you're bringing your buddies in for a group session you'd want to use more than one mic, although it is worth pointing out that mics like the HyperX Quadcast S do have facility for multiple polar patterns, if you'd like some more flexibility. Also, if you pick the boom arm version, you don't also receive the desk stand. Bit of an omission that, but again, this is designed to get right in your face and capture great audio, so a desk stand would maybe doing it a slight disservice. The boom arm itself is excellent, thankfully, and is as flexible and resilient as you like, so what you're getting here is something that you can use again, and probably again too. Good boom arms are often not particularly cheap, but here it's all part of the package. Yep, it's a great stream companion this, or a massive boost to meeting audio, in-game voice chat or a podcast, and a very well thought out package that hits all the right notes. Number 5. HyperX Quadcast S. The gamer-centric HyperX Quadcast S is an excellent microphone for the gamer or streamer looking for an easy-to-use, clear-sounding mic, and takes our top spot for the best-looking. Might seem a bit strange to think about looks when buying a microphone, but if you've got your audio gear in shot, it'd be nice if it looked great as well as sounding it, don't ya think? More than just a looker, however, the Quadcast S has plenty of features that you usually end up paying more for in other mics. The built-in pop filter works well and contributes to the sleek aesthetic, rather than covering your fancy new mic with an add-on attachment, and the top-mounted tap-to-mute button is capacitive, meaning there's no audible click when it's activated. In terms of software, the Quadcast S makes use of HyperX's Ingenuity suite, and there's options to adjust the lighting, gain, and air, not a whole lot else. Still, it's straightforward at the very least, but if you're expecting a lot of bells and whistles, you'll come away disappointed. Straightforward to a fault, but with all the basics covered will have to do. When it comes to sound, the Quadcast S captures clear and crisp audio even on low-gain settings, although it must be said it's a little plosive-prone. Still, the sound profile leans towards clarity without becoming harsh, which means it's a very good fit for anyone looking to do a bit of live streaming or podcasting. And after all, it seems a shame to keep all that lighting to yourself. It's got a rare combination of streamer-friendly good looks and excellent audio for a reasonable price, and those looking for something both aesthetically and sonically pleasing are well catered for here. Of course, you could go for the standard Quadcast and get, well, almost everything advertised here without the RGB, for around $20 cheaper. Still, if style is important to you as well as excellent audio, the HyperX Quadcast S is the best looking by far. Number 6. SteelSeriesAlias Pro. Setting up a stream with great audio is traditionally not easy, which is the reason we're sticking the SteelSeriesAlias Pro in as our best microphone for streaming. It might be pricey, but what you're paying for here is really the stream mixer that comes with it, and all the streamer-friendly features that make it a fantastic buy, even if it is pricey at $330/$330 MSRP. That little 2-dial, 2-button unit contains a powerful preamp that can connect out to an XLR microphone with 48V phantom power, which means you can use this with just about any good XLR mic on the market. However, SteelSeries has provided you with one of its Alias units here, and thankfully, it's a bit of a peach. It sounds lovely, particularly close up with a bit of an adjustment, although we'll get to that later. Once you've booted up the Sonar software, you'll discover it takes away most of the strain of setting up a load of complicated inputs, outputs, and audio gear. Drop-down menus and great hardware/software discovery means that this package does its best to make all those confusing settings as straightforward as possible, and the RGB lit buttons and dials on the front of the interface can be programmed in a variety of ways to make streaming control easy, straightforward, and right beneath your fingertips. More than that, the included audio adjustment settings are simple to use. There's a compressor, clearcast AI noise reduction, and a straightforward EQ with plenty of useful presets, which means getting a great sound out of this setup is about as easy as it could be. However, there is a bit of a catch. The SteelSeriesAlias Pro and that fantastic included preamp really appreciates being up close, and that means using a boom arm to get the microphone right up to your face. That'd be all well and good, except SteelSeries doesn't provide one with the package, limiting you to a desk stand instead. It'll sell you its own version, the SteelSeriesAlias Boom Arm, for another $100, but in all honesty it's a bit overpriced for what it is. Thankfully, the socket at the back of the SteelSeriesAlias mic provided here is a standard size, so many cheaper and just as good third-party boom arms should fit. And you're going to want one. Up close, the SteelSeriesAlias Pro really shines, and studio-quality audio becomes simple to achieve thanks to that software package and the quality of the 1-inch capsule provided. It's also small and compact, which means it's not in your face in the same way something like the Shure MV7 might be. Although if you're looking for ultimate audio chops, the Shure still takes the crown on raw sound. Streaming audio is difficult, and audio interfaces can be complicated beasts to wrangle. The SteelSeriesAlias Pro takes as much hassle out of the process as it can, and that makes it the best microphone for streaming. Just make sure you price in an arm, or given the cost, even a leg, to get the most out of it. Number 7. AudioTechnica ATH M50X STS Stream Set. Desktop mics are all well and good, but if you're looking for the best headset microphone, it has to be the AudioTechnica ATH M50X STS Stream Set. With this substantial piece of gear, not only are you getting a brilliant microphone, but a very good set of wired headphones all in one. This headset features a proper, fully fledged cardioid condenser mic. Don't let the relatively small size of that end capsule put you off. This unit is easily the best headset mic we've ever tested, and is capable of capturing your vocals just as well as some of the other options on this list. There's a lot to be said for having an excellent microphone built into a headset, too. For a start, you won't have to worry so much about volume changes when moving around, as once the mic distance has been set with the bendy arm, that's where it'll stay. That makes it perfect for those that don't want to think about their mic technique while gaming, streaming, or podcasting, as once you've got the distance right, you really don't have to think about much else. With a range of sampling options, there's plenty of flexibility on offer. Plus, there's a monitor mode. Ordinarily, that can be pretty distracting, but we found that the version here was actually very useful for keeping an eye on your vocals while midstream. Not only that, but noise removal software shouldn't be necessary given the closeness of that mic to your speaking equipment, i.e. mouth. There it'll hover, picking up your vocal tones and not much else unless you really crank the gain to the guns. There are a couple of downsides to consider. 1. The lack of on-headset or on-wire buttons, which for some will be a bonus in terms of simplicity. A dedicated mute wouldn't go amiss though. The other is the price. At $229/£169, the AudioTechnica is on the pricey side for both a good mic and a good headset, although of course you're getting two in one. Still, it's rare to find a piece of gear that features not once, but twice in our buying recommendations. But the ATH M50 XSTS really is good at two, often quite separate roles. Together combined, it really does excel at both. When it comes to headset microphones, it really is the best we've ever used. And for good measure, the drivers themselves are absolutely brilliant too. Pricey, perhaps, but multi-talented and built to last, to boot.